Hey guys, it's Liv here. In today's video, we're doing our final singles battle on the channel, at least for the foreseeable future. If you guys enjoy this content and you want to see more battle content, obviously not singles, but VGC content we'll be bringing a lot of starting in January. 6 days a week with battles and 1 day a week with guides, maybe 2 a week with guides, I'm not sure. I'll figure that out as the month comes, but if you do want to see it nonetheless, leave a like and subscribe for more. And if you want to become a channel member today, we actually have a video going up for channel members. It's a little bit late because of the holidays, I'm sorry, but today's channel member video will be how to get into VGC, so perfect timing for the switch. With that said though, let's get started with the team. Now, I know the thumbnail, I'm probably putting Meowscarada on it, but believe it or not, this is actually not a Meowscarada team. This is a team that a lot of people have been asking for the rental code for the longest, and I figured with this being the last singles game, I'm going to be leaving this rental code up permanently. Now, for anyone who said this team does not work on Battle Spot, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. This is clearly a team meant for OU. It's not a Battle Spot version. I'm not making a Battle Spot version. This team was meant for OU. Shoutouts to my friend Veno. He built this team. A lot of people, I saw people who were using the team who obviously they asked first if they could use it. I was perfectly fine with it. I don't even care if people didn't ask, but I saw a lot of people saying that I built this team. No. My friend and probably one of the better OU builders that I have access to, my good pal Veno, built this team, and he killed it on this. And I really wanted to use it again. A lot of people have been asking for this, so figured we would get another run back with the Quaquaval team. This is a Terra Electric Quaquaval with Mystic Water. The Terra Electric set is mostly designed to get around stuff like Corviknight, Slowbro, etc. All these other helmet mods that would sponge Aqua Step pretty easily. We have Terra Blast, Sword Stance, Aqua Step, and Close Combat with the Moxie ability. This basically allows Quaquaval, when it picks off kills with Aqua Step, to then gain a +1 attack and speed, essentially a Dragon Dance while claiming a KO. And on top of this as well, with Mystic Water, we're able to boost our damage output without wearing ourselves down sufficiently to helmet and all that. With the Terra Electric, as I said, this is really just around bulky waters, especially Toxapex, which could otherwise haze us. And this set in general is a really decent offensive way of really breaking through teams. There's obviously other stuff you could do with like Taunt, for example, and I do recommend when Terra gets banned on this eventually, if you do end up playing this specifically for an OU match, change out the Terra Blast for Brave Bird and just make it work that way with probably like a Life Orb. And while it won't be the same, you'll definitely get some still pretty sufficient results with this in my opinion. Up next, we do a Palmot with the Heavy Duty Boots and Natural Cure. You could potentially go with Iron Fist on this as well, but ultimately this was designed just to be alive as long as possible, so you can click Revival Blessing. There's a lot of other sets you can run on this, truthfully, but ultimately this is the set that we have at the time, and I still like it on this team nonetheless. With the boots, you're able to get around hazards pretty easily. You have Volt Switch for momentum, Revival Blessing for support, and then Thunder Punch and Mach Punch are just two really decent offensive options. You have Terra Electric here. You don't really need to click it. Typically, you're clicking that at Quaquaval. Up next, we have Wifi with the Terra Dark. Now, this set initially was actually made specifically to check Flutter Mane, but I've noticed this mon is still a decent parting shot user. We have Terra Dark in this team, mostly just to try and avoid other pranks or T-Wave or Taunt and all that, so then we can keep going for parting shot sufficiently. We have Gunk Shot, which is great for other fairies, especially for the Grimmsnarl matchup, because as I said, we could either A, just sponge hits from it in general, or B, we could go for Terra Dark to get the outright immunity to its prankster moves. We have Super Fang, which is great at breaking walls. Knockoff is great for removing stuff like boots, which decent for our hazards, and yeah, it's just an overall decent option. Up next, you have Meowscarada with the Heavy Duty Boots. We have Protean as the ability. With U-Turn, Knockoffs, Flower Trick, and Spikes. Flower Trick is great, just it's a really crit heavy stab, and with Terra Grass, you're able to boost that even further. We have Spikes, which is really just here to try and stack hazards. It should enable Quaquaval and also Meowscarada to win games easier. We have Knockoff to remove Boots, which should help with the hazard chip long term, and U-Turn is just great at keeping momentum here. Overall, a really decent, fast offensive piece for the team. We have Corviknight with Rocky Helmet. This is great at checking stuff like Garchomp, which just really decent offensive option, or even still other really strong offensive physical attackers like Annihilate, for example. We have U-Turn, Defog, Roost, and Body Press with the Terra Flying, really just meant to be a good defensive user with Terra Flying, being just a really good defensive type. Though you could definitely make this a steel type. I do recommend Flying just solely for the fact of how ground weak this team would be, especially when you've Terra Electric Quaquaval. You literally have half your team weak to it, so I do recommend, especially when your grass type is Meowscarada. But ultimately, this is just designed to be a really good physical wall and trying to helmet spam against a lot of different physical attackers. Final one on the team we have is Protected Pat's Garchomp. Really strong way around Rocky Helmet, and a lot of teams will anticipate that your Rocky Helmet Garchomp instead, so it works out really well. You have Sword Stance, Fire Fang, Stealth Rock, and Earthquake. Fire Fang is great to get around one of your best checks, being Corviknight, with Earthquake being a strong option for a majority of the metagame. Terra Ground should boost that even further, which this is honestly a really decent Terra user. Again, I know a lot of people are using this mod defensively, but it's still a really good offensive piece here. Stealth Rocks are great just for another form of hazards, which in tandem with Meowscarada Spikes should be really amazing for stacking opponents, and that's really all we have. So with that said, let's get into the final battle for singles for the while. Until then, peace out, guys. Hey guys, it's Liv here, and today we're doing our very last singles Wi-Fi battle ever on the channel, at least for the moment. For the foreseeable future, this will be the last one. If you guys enjoyed this content though, and you do want to see more just battling content in general, I highly recommend you guys subscribe for the VGC stuff coming up soon. We've obviously been doing some VGC on the channel for a while now, but this will be the shift into regular VGC, at least at the bare minimum until the home mods come out. And at that point, I might renegotiate and see what I want to do with singles, but for now, I just don't have the interest. What I will say though is I decided to end things off with a bang. This team might look very familiar, of course. This is our first team that we actually did for all of competitive. So we're going to be using that again today. I probably broke it down a lot more in my builder, but regardless though, good luck and fun to my opponent, and let's get started. So realistically, my opponent's team consists of Slowbro, Cinderace, Meowscarada, Indeedee, Sylveon, and Garchomp. I'm anticipating one of Meowscarada or Garchomp to lead. I think they're both decent options. So I think that realistically my lead here has to be Corviknight. It should be decent against everything. If they proceed to lead off with Cinderace, it's fine. I can actually go right into my Garchomp, and my Garchomp should be a decent option. Now, one thing I will say is they're probably anticipating on this team we have a defensive Garchomp, because it's what everyone runs. But we have the offensive Chomp, which actually matches up super well against their team. Their one check to it is Slowbro, and this might be a Terra Ground set, in all honesty, for instead of going with the Terra Electric on my Quaquaval. But who knows, I think a Quaquaval also is a really decent matchup here. So we could actually maybe make the Duck work this time, which would be great. I've heard a lot of people say they've had a ton of success with this team, and that's why I wanted to bring it back. Actually, I figured I'd give up Rental, and this time I'm going to leave it up permanently. This will be the one singles Rental that will stay up, and it will be the only singles Rental that stays up permanently. But I will leave it up for anyone, regardless. You could use this team in a year, and this Rental will still be up. They're Indeedee male, which is good to know. I didn't actually note that on my notes, but I could probably just U-turn on this pretty efficiently and be fine. They would basically need to be some sort of Terra Psychic mon, which might be the Cinderace, actually. They might have used some crystals to make that Terra Psychic. Though I'd be kind of shocked. I feel like Terra Fighting or Fire were both really strong Terra types for that. We're going to U-turn on Sylveon regardless. I'm kind of shocked they made that play, assuming that we just didn't have a Steel move, but good on them, of course. They obviously made it right. So Indeedee, obviously it's Indeedee male, which is good to note. While the moves are mixed this time around, it's still decent information for us. We're going to proceed to go into Grafaiai here. Grafaiai should be able to get off, well, I don't know, what do I want to go for here? I think I have a lot of options. Ultimately, they don't have a poison resist, at least, besides Garchomp. And I feel like Garchomp, if nothing else, doesn't really want to take the combination of Gunk Shot into Parting Shot just because it's two really strong attacks. Well, let me rephrase. Parting Shot will obviously be dropping its attack for later on, which will be useful specifically for when the Corviknight comes in, taking even less damage from it, even if it happens to be Sword Stance later on. So we won't even need to risk, because +1 Fire Fang will do significantly less than +2. But not only this as well, but we have the chance to poison with Gunk Shot right here, which should be decent. And we actually do land it, so I'll take that. So we're going to proceed to go for our Parting Shot here. With the Garchomp being poisoned, as well as the fact that it took the damage from Gunk Shot at all, this should be pretty decent with anything else going into whatever else we do. And with the Parting Shot, we'll gain some strong initiative on my opponent, actually. Oh, right, shit, Psychic Terrain. Okay, that's pretty bad. I completely forgot about that. That was a big goof on my part. So this is still fine in all honesty. I could probably just hard swap. I don't overly care a ton, but oh, that was a really big fuck up on my end. I let the Garchomp get the +2. I can still make this work though. Garchomp thankfully doesn't have a way to boost its speed with something like Scale Shot this gen, so Meowscarada can always pick it off. And not only this, but with Garchomp's only reliable way of damaging this, unless it's really going for Rock Slide, I guess, it should be at the very least taking Rocky Helmet damage, which in tandem with Poison will be amazing for us. As we see there, Dragon Claw is going to be Contact, it's going to take Rocky Helmet, they're going to take Poison as well, and they should only have like 2 more attacks that they can get off on this Pokemon. So if they're going to go for Fire Fang, that's fine here. I could go for Terra Flying, defensively speaking, but I think ultimately I would rather just trade Corviknight. If they're going to let me roost here, that's fine too. My guess is that they're probably a Fire Fang for Corviknight if they're Short Stance. I feel like they're Short Stance 3 attacks, but I'm not sure. If they're really lacking Fire Fang, though, that's amazing for me. So we'll just have to see. Worst case scenario, as I said, I trade this with Meowscarada and I could set up on something else later on. They're actually going to switch here though, which leads me to believe that they do not have Fire Fang, which is also really good for me. They're gonna bring in Cinderace. Okay. Oh, I just realized I wrote Psychic Terrain. I meant to write Sword Stance on my Garchomp move slot. I don't know why I thought to write the move Psychic Terrain, but you know what? Pretty funny if nothing else. We're gonna go into Garchomp here though. Garchomp should be a decent switch into Cinderace. My guess is they're going to click U-turn, but I can't really let Corviknight take that. I would much rather switch Garchomp in on the Pyro Ball. So we're going to take the Pyro Ball here. That's fine. We take no damage from this, which is great for us. And seeing that my opponent has no actual ground switch in, I'm just going to click Earthquake. Earthquake, actually, do I want to click Earthquake or Rocks? I'm going to go for Rocks, actually. Rocks should be decent. They're going to go for U-turn here. So be it. They're going to go for Libero. Wait, did Libero not proc because it was a stab? Interesting. I thought it would have activated because they Pyro Ball. That's actually really good to know. I wonder if that's an error or if that's just intentional. Someone let me know in the comments. I genuinely don't know. Because as far as I'm aware, that shouldn't have worked. That should have never worked. But it's still interesting to note here. Because that's actually decent. If nothing else, OU Council, if you're looking for footage, I guess this works for a mechanic thing. It shows you that clearly is how the mechanic is working. But yeah, genuinely had no idea that's how the mechanic worked. Maybe it is intentional, maybe it isn't. But we're gonna bring Grafia nonetheless, and I'm just gonna go for Gunk Shot. Even if my opponent goes for whatever mon they go into here, I'm pretty okay going for this Gunk Shot because I can go for a. They would basically need to bring in. Ooh, their Throat Spray. That's threatening actually. It's really threatening. I'm still gonna go for a Gunk Shot here. This should be decent. They're gonna basically have to bring in a DD to stop the Parting Shot next turn, and a DD going in would allow me a free knockoff on the following turn, which I'm still okay with actually. But Garchomp should die between the Gunk Shot plus the poison damage, so I'm not even worried about Garchomp coming in right now. Especially with Rocks up, even if it was supposed to have done a Sliver beforehand, there's no chance it takes a hit. And that's really their only actual resist to this. They're actually going to go for Terrastal on Sylveon, which is interesting, but I do get it. This is probably a really decent Terrastal Fire candidate. They are going to go for the Terrastal Ground here. Okay, good to note. So this is actually a pretty decent option for them, though. So they're probably going to take us out here, which is really, again, really good play by them. This takes away our Prankster option, which is a little unfortunate, but you know what? I think of all the mons that could have been baited into this, I'm really glad that it was Grafia. So I'll definitely take this. Sadly, our Corviknight can't really touch this that well, which does mean that I probably will need to bring back. So the Terra Ground. I can actually just bring a Meowscarada here and go for Flower Trick. Thankfully, they give me a really good opening here, so I am just gonna go for Flower Trick here. And this should be a really strong option, offensively speaking. Even if they go into Cinderace, that's fine. Cinderace should still take a good amount of damage from this. Any other Pokemon, I think, will get 2 KO'd if not OHKO'd. So I'm not really too concerned. If they bring in, okay, yeah, if they bring in Cinderace, it's fine. I could just go for a knockoff on this because we know it's not Scarfed. And I can get rid of the boots if nothing else. Yeah, see, Protean activated in the first hit. Why did Pyro Ball not activate this? It's very interesting. Because I lost my Dark type doing this. They would not have, though. We're going to go for U-turn regardless, though. Again, we know we guarantee up pace, so I'm just going to try and gain my momentum here. And I'm going to proceed to bring in Garchomp, because Garchomp should be a decent switch if nothing else. So let's make them take their rough skin damage, because this should be strong in terms of wearing their Cinderace down. They'll go for Quarter Change here. This is fine. They're a normal type now. So I'm just going to go for Rocks again. So let's see. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for Rocks. Because no matter what they bring in here, Rocks I think are still my best play. And they're no longer stabs, so actually they will die to one more. I think it's one more. One more hit should do it. It's good to know they have Court Change. Thankfully, though, it doesn't really make a big difference. My team isn't actually very hazard weak, and really, I just need to get Quaquaval in late game, which I only need to do once. I only need to do that once, and that might actually just be on the Sylveon, to be honest. I think it's a great setup target, personally. And realistically, it would basically need to be... I'm not actually sure what they could even bring in that would really sufficiently handle that. But I think I basically just bring in Quaquaval, and I get an Aqua Step up. And I don't even think I actually need to go for Swords Dance here. I think the only one I'd go for a Swords Dance on would be Slowbro, so I'll definitely take that. I'm going to go for an Earthquake regardless. Again, they don't really have a ground switch in this entire team, and getting off damage on anything is really valuable in my opinion. So we're going to actually just KO the Indeedee. I'll definitely take this. That was a potential Healing Wish Mon later on, so clearing that is huge. They're probably going to bring in Meowscarada here if I had to guess. It's a really strong option, and truthfully, they should be bringing in something that will not allow in Quaquaval. I'm just not sure what that particular Pokemon is. They're actually going to bring in Sylveon here. Okay, so Sylveon's coming in. This is fine, actually. I'm just going to go for... I think I'm just going to go for Fire Fang, specifically with the intention of not KOing this. I want to make sure that I leave a Pokemon that will be easy to pick off later on for Quaquaval with Aqua Step, because I want to threaten them out. I want to threaten them out 100%, and I don't want to burn my Terrestrial just yet. So we're going to bring in Garchomp. That's fine. And, well, no, Garchomp's going to die, I should say. That's fine. But we're going to bring Quaquaval, though. And I'm going to go for my Aqua Step here. Now, I will say, I don't want to burn my Terrestrial yet, because I want to see if we can make them specifically go for... I want to see if we can make them go for Meowscarada and hope it's Scarf, and then go for Flower Trick on us. Because if they're Scarf, that's fine, it won't KO. And I can at least trade Meowscarada as well, which will be valuable. It's the same reason I'm not clicking Close Combat yet, because I don't need to click it on anything besides the Meowscarada. So I'm going to go for my Aqua Step, though. This should be a strong hit, if nothing else, and Sylveon should be taken out. We're going to get a Moxie boost here, which should be really strong. And again, barring Scarfers, we should outpace the whole team. Their Terrestrial option is now KO'd as well, and even with Garchomp gone, actually, I do have a Revival Blessing on Palmot in the back, which should be valuable. I should be able to take out something with this. I'm just not sure what in particular, but I'll definitely take that. I'm going to guess they're going to bring in Slowbro here. Slowbro would be the objective Pokemon to bring in at this point. That's why I have... Oh, they're actually Meowscarada. Okay, so see, now this is interesting, because I actually have to go Corviknight here, because I can't really risk this being a Scarf set. So we do see this thing taking rocks, which is good information for us, of course. Yeah, I'm just going to bring in the Corviknight. No real reason to risk, despite the fact that obviously I'm expecting Flower Trick. But I'm gonna guess they're gonna click Flower Trick. I'll click U-turn on this in the following turn, which should be really strong because again, I'm anticipating Scarfed. If we see they click U-turn on us, then I'm okay with this because that does obviously reveal they're not choiced. Or same as if they click Knockoff here. That also again just reveals they're not choiced. So we're gonna click U-turn, and they're gonna click Knockoff. Okay, so next time I could just click KO this, which is really good information for us. We're gonna, or actually, the U-turn might even just KO this, to be completely honest. It does not. Okay, good to note. Knock off Flower Trick. Okay, good to note. We're gonna bring in Palmot here. Palmot should be able to just get a free Mach Punch, and that should take this out. I can't imagine this wouldn't. We're still Iron Fist boosted, and I know that Palmot's not exactly known for being the most offensive breaker in the tier or anything. Oh, fuck, right, Psychic Train. I keep forgetting this thing is up. Oh my god. Okay, well, we're gonna lose this to Play Rough. That's fine. Our Revival Blessing Pokemon's gone, but it's not really a huge deal, in all honesty. We're gonna proceed to bring back in Corviknight. And I could just go for another U-turn. This is a little bit annoying, to be fair, but it's not really the end of the world. Yeah, fuck. I keep forgetting the Psychic Train is up. We'll go for a Roost this turn. Corviknight, despite not having Helmet, is still pretty useful this game. So I'm just gonna go for the Roost. If they go hard Cinderace, it's fine. At that point, I'll probably have to let this thing go. But they are going to take the... They're going to have to U-turn out. They're probably going to go into Cinderace. They're going Cinderace, right? I can't really see another Mon that actually go into here. But even still, Cinderace will have to worry about my... I'll have to worry about my Meowscarada, which can just go for a knockoff at this point. So I'm not really too concerned. Basically, I'm right now waiting for the Slowbro to come in. Slowbro will be a setup target for my Quaquaval to win. And I think otherwise, I just let other Pokemon go down. Meowscarada should be able to pick off a lot of the team at this point. So... Okay, we're gonna go for a U-turn here. U-turn should be decent, and if they overpredict, I'm okay with this. They might overpredict, to be fair, but I don't really see them having a reason to. I can honestly just keep going for attacks with Corviknight. Well, not for Corviknight, but with Meowscarada plus Slowbro and start doing damage to their team. They're actually going to overpredict, which is great for us. That is so great for us. I'm so glad they did this, because that kind of bails me a lot with the Corviknight sack, because now I do have another switch into Meowscarada later on. But thankfully they do try and make that prediction. They've been playing aggressive a lot of this game, so I feel like that was a worthwhile play to make. They're most likely going to, if I had to guess, they're going to go into probably Meowscarada. I feel like there's no reason not to bring that mon in. Meowscarada, okay, yep, that's fine. Okay, so they're going to take hazard damage, which is really good for us, obviously. We're going to go for the U-turn, and this mon is now officially KO'd. That means my Meowscarada is the fastest Pokemon on the field, which is really good for us. So we're going to bring in our Meowscarada again. Actually, no, I'm gonna bring in Quaquaval. I want to bait in the Slowbro. I really want to bait in the Slowbro because I think we can get a sweep right now if we can just bait Slowbro to come in, which I feel like this is a really enticing mon to bring it in on. If they don't, I think I'm just gonna go for Aqua Step either way. Well, I'm gonna go for Aqua Step either way unless if they bring in Slowbro, which in that point I will go for. I'm going to go for Aqua Step into Terra Blast, I think, if they go into Slowbro. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I'm really, really hoping they bring in Slowbro, though. They're going to bring Garchomp, actually. Okay. So this is fine. I'm going to go for Aqua Step here. We should be okay to click this. I can't really see a better... If they KO, that's okay. Okay. So thankfully they didn't. And Aqua Step, despite being contact, we should have enough HP to live this hit. So I am pretty okay with this. That's fine. We just barely take it. We barely take it, right? Yep, okay. So Garchomp faints. And then Quaquaval should literally have enough. Barring... oh, fuck. Never mind. Okay, we trade Quaquaval. That's fine. Honestly, not a huge concern of mine. Because we still do have Meowscarada here. Quaquaval took out Garchomp, which is decent. If nothing else, it's just free chip that we can avoid now. Again, we know that Cinderace is boots, which is good for us. And I'm just going to click Knockoff here. Knockoff should be very free. And yeah, they guarantee cannot outpace us. So this should be a win. Because Slowbro just takes the Flower Trick, and at that point it's done. I could go for Terra Grass at that point, which I think I will just solely to do so. Because I can just go for Terra Grass and then get my type changed to Grass. And then do even more damage to Slowbro, because I've lost my stab. Again, really interested in why Libero works different. I feel like this is a bug, but I'm not 100% sure. I feel like this cannot be intentional. Someone let me know down below if for some reason I'm being dumb, but I feel like this can't be intentional. We're gonna go for the Terra Grass though, and this should take out Slowbro, and this should be a guaranteed win. I will say while we are clicking this hit, because Slowbro, I don't think it can take us out. Definitively, I don't think it can take us out. So I'm gonna wrap this up, of course, by just thanking everyone for all the singles content. That's why I wanted to bring back this rental code. This is like one of the teams that people have asked about the most by far since I took down the rental code. It's not even close. I'm sure the That's a Plus One vid that they did covering this team has a lot to do with that, on top of the fact as well this was just a day one team and it's a starter team. So I'm sure all those factors combined have a lot to do with why this team blew up. But regardless though, here it is for anyone one last time. I won't delete this rental code. I'll have this up literally years from now, as long as the servers are up, this team rental code will be up, unless if for some reason the servers flush rental codes at that point. I'm sorry, but hopefully you guys enjoy the singles content. This is where the singles content will end for now. Not to say it will never come back, it's just not coming back anytime soon. Shoutouts, of course, to channel members being Josh Gulch Player, Mia, Zeke0, Nox Nocturnal, and Matt O'Shea. Your guys' support is greatly appreciated. If you're looking for any new singles content creators to check out in my stead, if for some reason singles was the deal breaker here, I highly recommend, I'm gonna link them right at the top of the description, right underneath my channel links. I highly recommend a few different channels. For one, Matt O'Shea. Well, Matt O'Shea covers a lot of singles content that's specifically tailored towards counter team format, which is the draft league. Smogon has integrated this, so it's obviously a great way to learn that sort of format if you're interested, because Smogon will be hosting a lot more tournaments for this, so you can get in on the ground floor for this, where a lot of other people will be learning. You'll have a great resource there to learn some content from. If you're looking for some more in-game 3v3 sort of singles type content, I highly recommend Q the Costa Rican. Q the Costa Rican has been a great source of singles content, and he's been really killing it with 3v3 while still doing some actual 6v6 Wi-Fi on the side as well. Between the two, though, honestly, you should be in good hands as far as singles content goes from Q. And really, they should cover the spectrum. There's obviously some other great channels you can check out as well, like OG Albina, Just Kurt, and many, many others. I could literally list so many different other singles contents, like Just Weval, again, channels I'm sure you guys know of. I wanted to mention those two in particular, who I will link down below. I'll actually probably just link all 5 of them down below, to be honest, but realistically, you should get a good singles fill from those if singles really was the deal breaker here. I appreciate your stay, but hopefully you guys check out the doubles content. I'm going to be starting with that up as soon as tomorrow. Well, I've been doing it already, but we'll be going in full force starting tomorrow because it's Saturday, so we're doing Battle Spot. We're going to try and make Master Ball with our last vid of the season. If not, we'll just make it in January for sure. But I'll see you guys then. Until later, peace out, guys.